Alright, so what we're going to do first is clear out this area here. That I pretty much forgot about earlier. Now, there should be a Wandering Nightmare directly below me here. There is a crows up here, but I don't think there's any items. If we didn't do anything there, no. It's kind of a long drop, but, you know, fall damage isn't too bad. So yeah, there's two hunters here, and now we did get the executioner gloves. Unfortunately, he's already pulled there. I might try and use them on the other guy here. So this guy does use the Tauntauss. Yeah, and a plank shield apparently, but as you can see, they have quite a bit of health if you're tackling like as soon as you go to this area. But if you come back a bit later, they're no big deal. Yeah, let me try and use the gloves on the other guy. Now, I don't have the greatest scaling because I have like 41 arcane now, but how much do the gloves need actually? Is it 30? 20? So, this guy loves to spam the rifle. But, you know, it doesn't do much damage from range at least. He's just loving to hit me. So he's hiding behind the well as well, so I can't really hit him. So I hit him with one of the orbs of the gloves there, and it did about 100 damage, which isn't bad. But let me just kill this guy because he's really annoying, especially the first time that you fight him. So the gloves are kind of not very useful on humanoid opponents like that because they do kind of like tend to go around the enemy, or they'll roll through it. So it's not the greatest against enemies like that, but it can be very useful. So this is the other thing here, and we pretty much got everything else that we needed here. So I'm just going to bold Hunter's Mark out. So really, it was just those two Wandering Nightmares and the two hunters there that I forgot about earlier. Now we're going to do Hypogean Jail, which means we will be fighting a boss there. Kind of a boss that you can come back to later, but honestly we should pretty much destroy them at this point, and that will allow us to get Djura's gesture after we do that. Which, you know, isn't really a big thing, but I may as well get it. So, Hypogean Jail. We shouldn't even need to really backstab the Snatchers anymore. We should just be able to just, like, transform attack them down. It's just one of those areas that's nice to get early on, especially if you plan on using the Tauntauss, which I probably won't be using. Like I said, it's not a pure bolt weapon, so it's not as useful to a full arcane build, unfortunately. Yeah, I can just like R1 spam my way past these guys now. So it isn't the most useful weapon for us, but it can be useful early on. It probably would have been doing more damage if I upgraded it to +6 and used it on the enemies in Canehurst, but you saw those enemies went down well enough to a fire weapon anyway, so it's really not that big a concern right now. And you get very nice bolt radials from the DLC anyway. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm thinking of putting, is it 5 points into skill? It would be 5, yeah. 5 points into skill would get me access to the Beast Hunter safe and the, I think there's a elevator that doesn't go anywhere yet here. Yeah. Beast Hunter safe and the church pick, and I'm thinking of using the church pick. Well, there's nothing here. Okay. There's a couple pigs around this area. That's one of them. These guys are pretty weak to fire. Yeah, like 3 hits there, no big deal. So church pick, we'll need to get to the second area of the DLC to get those. So I'm thinking of leaving myself getting a bolt weapon until then. The safe is also an option. Although, personally, I did kind of say this in a comment, but I'm not as big a fan of the safe compared to the Sock Lever and Saw Spear, personally. But And I think the church pick might be a little bit better just in terms of variety, just because it is a completely new weapon that I haven't really used. Now, one thing I have to mention about weapons is quite a few of them have different variations. The lost... Well, okay, let me start over with that. Every weapon has a lost and uncanny version, and they changed the blood gem imprints on them. Now, you need to get the lost and uncanny versions from chalice dungeons. Generally, you get the lost versions of any of the base weapons, like the weapons in the base game, like this Tontress I'm just about to pick up. You get them in the either Depth 2 or Depth 3 Chalice dungeons. So I could go and get lost weapons right now. Actually, I think I would need to get the Root Chalice before I could make... Basically, you know, you can put in glyphs that other people have made of Chalice dungeons and just like go and get them that way. So you can go and get the Lost and Uncanny versions. Generally, Lost ends up being better at the very, very end game for Arcane, just because of the sort of imprints that it has. It usually has a triangle and the waning and the radial. So, but honestly, you'll be fine just sticking with the normal variations, to be honest, anyway. But one of the things about the church pick is that it is radial triangle by default, which is okay, but I think there is some waning bolt gems in the DLC that are better. So it might be better to get the uncanny version, which has waning instead of a triangle. So it's a little bit complicated and annoying, but one of the things about the DLC weapons is, as long as you have the I'll just kill these guys. I'll come back this way. As long as you get the DLC weapon, you can then find a store in the Chalice dungeons which will sell you the uncanny and lost versions of the DLC weapons. So that can be kind of easy to get to generally. So all I need to do is go pick up the church pick in the DLC, get the uncanny version from a Chalice dungeon, and then upgrade that. So it's a bit convoluted if you want to get the best version in quotes, because, you know, technically the best version is to get lost of all your weapons eventually, but like I said, there isn't really many triangles that I can get right now, triangle gems. So yeah. I think I picked up pretty much every item as I was rambling about that in this area. So now we're just going to go and fight the boss. So what's the best way to go? Yeah. So the boss here is actually strong to bolt because it is a bolt type enemy. So I wouldn't recommend using the Tontress on it. But it is pretty weak to fire, and it is pretty weak to arcane. So I am going to try and use the gloves on it at least a little bit. Pebbles. There's a couple items in here, but not too much. Now you can come back to this boss later on if you want, and absolutely... Oh jeez, I didn't see that. Oop, boot. Oh wow, that counter damage right there. Oh jeez. Okay. Oh my god, I'm just getting destroyed by these guys. Alright, let's calm it down. I let them buff, basically, and they're just really annoying now. They're super speed. Yeah. Do that, and then kill them. Alright. I played that pretty poorly. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking of doing with weapons. Church Pick. So Church Pick has both serrated and the righteous damage modifier that I was talking about when I was at Canehurst. Not that that is particularly useful, honestly, it's not that useful compared to serrated. So I think the Church Pick is serrated in its transformed state and righteous in its normal state. I could be wrong about that, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but I think that's the case. So, alright. Here's the boss area. You can get a summon here, but it shouldn't be too much of a concern. So this guy, he will do an AoE as soon as you start the boss fight, so it isn't really worth getting close to him because you'll get hit immediately. So one of the things is he's immediately kind of staggered at the start here, and I just absolutely destroyed him there. So he's probably going to, yeah. So let me just take gloves again, or blood bullets. He occasionally does an AoE when he does that. He's kind of like, is he going to charge at me? No. Ow, that actually hit me? Wow. I'm just trying to drop him here. Yeah, he does an AoE attack there, but just because I'm doing so much damage to him, I can drop him very easily. I did kind of get caught in his swipes there, but as you can see, with fire damage, he's really not that difficult at all. I don't think there's any items in his boss room. So now we're going to go up and talk to Djura. And man, I'm getting a lot of echoes. So I think that moon rune that I put in, I think it's 20% more echoes. You can get so many echoes. It might be 30%, because there is 30, 20, and 10% moon rune. So if you actually stack them together, you'll get a bunch. You'll get 60% more echoes, and you can just farm them very easily. But yeah, I don't really need a bunch right now. Now, if I am going to get the church pick, that means I do need to put 5 points into skill. So that might be something I might want to stay aware of. So I might go to 45 Arcane, then dump those 5 points in, and then level Arcane again after that. And yeah, I mean, you can use the threaded cane as well. Like I said, I could potentially use that. There is some differences with the weapons you can use, but like I said in the first part, Arcane builds, pure Arcane builds, generally want to use pure physical weapons converted to an elemental thing. So and weapons with lower requirements, because they don't want to put too many points into strength and skill. So those are basically the two requirements, but anything apart from that is fine, really. So make sure that you answer the second option here, otherwise he will not give you his gesture, he'll just kill you. So the unfortunate thing is, if you do want to buy his armor with insight, you do need to kill him. So I'm sorry, Djura, but I gotta do this. Oh, he's sneaky. Oh, he almost pushed me off the edge there. There's the damage. So he will heal once, I think. Well, he just fell off the edge. He doesn't drop anything because he gave me the hunter back. Actually, what am I doing? I should just pull Hunter's Mark out. He won't actually give me anything because he already gave me the badge that can allow you to buy oil urns, which isn't really that useful to me. Well, I mean, like I said, oil urns do increase the damage of the next fire attack that you did, including damage from fire weapons. So potentially you could use it like as soon as you start a boss fight to make your, like, if you do a charged R2 at the start of the boss fight, do quite a bit more damage. But honestly, it's not that useful to me, really. So I can buy his armor with insight now that I've killed him. Yeah, there we go. So even though he was knocked off the edge, he doesn't really drop anything else. So where's the gestures here? Brush off dust. There you go. That's what I was waiting for. Like, this entire time to wait to kill Dark Beast Pearl. You know, it was all for that. Right, so yeah, oil urns here. As you can see, I don't have that many of them. They cost quite a lot, actually. He also has rope Molotov cocktails from that badge, which basically drop behind you. They can occasionally be useful, but I don't know. They seem more for PvP and stuff. Molotovs are still kind of useful at this point, honestly. So, repair this. I actually will buy those oil urns just to have them. Even though I'm probably not going to use them, honestly. So I'll buy enough to get to 10. So, skill. I am going to get quite a few blood echoes at the first DLC area. So, should I take Arcane to 45 and then pump skill? Or should I just level skill now? I might do that. 42, 11. Because Beast Hunter safe is 11 skill. Church Pick is 14. No, I'll just pump Arcane for now. I mean, like I said, I'm doing well enough with a fire weapon already, so now we're gonna go to the DLC because I think I've pretty much covered everything. So it's Cathedral Ward. I think I pretty much covered everything that I want to do so far. Now, the DLC area can be quite a bit more difficult than what the stuff I was doing right then. But honestly, it's not that bad, the regular enemies. The guys that suck in this area, the first area, are the hunter enemies, actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trigger the cutscene to get to the DLC. Now, did I get Adela's blood? I can't remember if I did. Yes, I did get it. Ariana's still there. Will the chapel dweller give me anything? Oh, he just wants to be my friend. Yeah, I thought he was going to give me a gesture or something. Yeah, this was the other guy we saved, which I haven't really done anything with. He's pretty useless. He's got a weird face. Can I say that? Yeah. It's nasty looking. Alright, so I think, yeah, those guys have now disappeared after Vicar Amelia, basically the patrolling enemies here. So all you need to do is you need to come here to where the hunter set is, and you're going to get picked up again, like this, like you went to the Nightmare Frontier with. Or sorry, the lecture hall with. And that's all that you need to do to get to the DLC. Just make sure that you kill Amelia, and pick up the item back in the Hunter's Dream that allows you to teleport to this area when you get picked up here. And that's pretty much all you need to do. Now you'll spawn in a pretty similar looking area here called the Hunter's Nightmare. And I'm just going to hit the lamp and finish there. Alright, so going through the Hunter's Nightmare, I've kind of decided that I kind of don't want to use the Church Pick. I think I would do better on a physical skill build. So I'm actually kind of tending to more the safe, which I believe is how it's pronounced. And I do get a bit sooner, so I'm probably going to go with the safe instead of the Church Pick. Not that I'll have good bolt radials until the third area of the DLC anyway, so. So, the Hunter's Nightmare here, pretty much a distortion of Cathedral Ward and certain parts of Yharnam. These enemies, the Hunters, they can be pretty difficult, so one strategy to use on them is like I'm doing here, is where I go and use blood bullets and then the executioner gloves, and that will do a lot of damage to them. And then you can kind of just go in for a single combo and kill them before they really have any chance to attack you. Although some of them will shoot the weapons they have, so. But yeah, we're going to be using a lot of bullets, and that's kind of why I wanted Executioner's gloves before I came in here. Now, the safe, I have used it before, Personally, I prefer the cleaver and spear, but I'm going to give it another shot because I think it is a really good weapon. It's just, you know, the variety on Arcane builds for pure conversion weapons is kind of limited if you want, like, the best ones. I could use the Threaded Cane or the Hunter Axe as well, you know, they are certain weapons. And they're very good as well. It's just, you know, with Arcane weapons like that, you have not that many choices because you don't want to put that many points into strength and skill, but maybe like very end game I'll swap over to using like Ludwig's Holy Blade or something, you know. But I am trying to make like 99 Arcane if I can, so that's kind of the priority there. So this guy's using the boom hammer. It's an interesting weapon, we'll see it later. So he does get staggered from the gloves, which is really nice. So I'm going to blood bullets again. That was a lot of damage that I just took. Shit. I'm doing a lot of damage to these guys with the fire. I think I came in here with like a physical weapon, and I was doing like over 200 damage, and I'm doing about 400 damage with a R1 here. So I hate the weapon this guy uses, the Beast Cutter, because it's kind of like a scythe, but it has like just ridiculous range. So I always hate fighting against them. And there's also going to be a Red Eye Hunter, which is kind of like the Red Eye Knights in Demon Souls. And he does a bunch of damage and has a bunch of HP. So he's kind of annoying to deal with. But before him we have a few more hunters. And there's dogs in this area, don't worry about that. That's always the case. So, you know, some of these aren't that useful, the twin bloodstone shards. They seem to drop quite a lot. This is a hunter using the safe here, but we're probably not going to see the moveset very much, as I'm just going to do that to him. These enemies can be pretty difficult if you are just fighting them without using any, you know, ranged attacks first. So be aware of that. So I'm gonna hit the shortcut there. That goes back to the start of the area. But yeah, fire does a lot of damage, as you can see. They're actually still cowering because I still have the hunter torch out. There are some dark areas in this area. Sorry, there is some dark places in this area, so I am gonna just keep that equipped. This guy can shoot at you, but he generally has less HP than the other hunters. Okay, so fall down here. Alright, so this is the red eye guy coming up. He won't fall down until you kill one of these wolf guys. So I'm gonna spam some of that at him. I didn't blood bullets there. Okay. So I'm gonna run past them. Sometimes they'll fall down to the other floor, which is pretty useful. So what you can do is Augur of Abritus is pretty useful on him, especially if he does that jumping attack. You can just dodge into him, and if you time it right, you can actually get Augur of Abritus to give you a chain backstab, which is pretty impressive. So there we go. I don't even know if these guys ever attack. They just seem to be backing off and like not doing anything. So be aware that this guy will drop a vermin if you have Volter's Rune on. And the other weapon I picked up there was the Beast Cutter, which I don't think is a very good arcane weapon. So it's 11 strength. I mean, I guess I could make it arcane, but because it is a pure physical weapon, but I don't believe it's a particularly great one. So there's a gun there. It's just kind of annoying to fight against because it is, you know, a pretty ridiculous range weapon. So Molotov's there, and I think we picked up pretty much everything so far. Okay, so one of the things here is you can actually completely dodge this boulder by just going to the left. But there's another enemy coming up that is very annoying. And I think these gemstones that the guys are dropping aren't really that bad. 12.6 physical. So there's also, yeah. So there's this enemy here which is kind of like an executioner. But he just buffed there, which means all of his attacks will be getting AoE properties. That was really bad there for me. Okay, so he's got you can see a sort of AoE that's coming out of him now. But something like yeah, I got hit by that. So he's really, really aggressive. So I'm just gonna blood bullets and finish him off from range. Really, you don't need to kill him. You can just cheese him from range or just run past him, which probably would be a better way of dealing with him than going in melee. But if you do interrupt him before he charges up, which we couldn't really do because basically there's a couple enemies here that will immediately try to open the door and fight against him. So they can often bring him down to the threshold where he buffs, and then, you know, he gets that AoE attack on all of his moveset basically. You can interrupt it, and that means that you won't have to deal with it for the rest of the fight. So it makes it a bit easier if you want to go into melee with him, but you know, I have the power to just cheese him, so I will do so. Get used to glove spam in Chalice Dungeons, by the way, it's very effective there. So I picked up the Eye Pendant, which is a required item to get to the rest of the DLC after this area. And we're going to be heading down to the next part of the area now. So there's some blood vials here. I think I pretty much got everything. But that start of the area can actually be really difficult. So we're going into this part here. You just need time when you're running. Don't not then. That's not a good timing for it. Okay, so run now. And just take these guns. There's also another one kind of hidden here, and when this guy steps off it, it will probably shoot you in the back, so be aware of that. There's also these guys that will drop delayed Molotovs. They throw them at you, at the floor, and then they'll explode after a brief time. Ow. So there's a boom hammer hunter there. Well, that was just stuck on the side there. Yep, just spam blood bullets forever. Okay. Yep, so you can see there that they drop them on the ground. Not that that's very effective, really. Okay, so this area can be kind of dark, so I'm getting the torch out. I barely use the gun, to be honest, anyway. I haven't really been trying to parry. Just because, you know, generally parrying isn't that great for arcane builds, and I haven't really needed to. If I'm gonna, like, backstab, I'd rather use Augur of Abritus now, to be honest. So here you can pick up the boom hammer, but when you do, make sure that you run away, because a bomb is dropped there. And coming up on another hunter now, he uses the beast claws, so every successive attack that he does will do more damage. So it's quite good to use transform attacks on him, because he generally dodges away after you hit him once. If you can catch him in a corner as well, it's pretty effective. And I don't believe this guy heals either. No stamina there. him down. He's got his combos there. I'll just back off and heal here. Yeah, that transform attack's great. So yeah, you don't want to really be caught in his combos because he can kill you very fast. And he does have that weird jump there. There we go. So I don't think there's anything up in the area here. He gives you that firing hammer badge, which I believe you can buy the boom hammer and perhaps a rifle. I don't know exactly what that gets you, because we did just pick up a boom hammer though. Alright, so further around this area, I'm gonna run and pick up this item first. There's blood lickers in this area, but generally they're less of a problem than the ones in Canehurst. That said, I'm not gonna fight them right now. So now we're gonna start to get a few of the chunks that we need. So here's the first two from this Wandering Nightmare. Now there's gonna be a hunter in here, and he's incredibly annoying. So I don't know if I want to like Beastshore or Augur. I'll put both on the bar. So there's this guy here with the Gatling gun, and he's really incredibly annoying. He's gonna try and hit me through here. Ah man, he was pretty fast on that too. His tracking isn't the greatest with the gun there. The unfortunate part about this is he has so much health and he heals too. Oh Jesus. He does so much damage too. I want to get back here. Heal. So I'm gonna try and like just spam Augur at him, because it seems pretty effective. Because it does knock him down every time, it has decent range. Nice. Nice. So that guy can be a real problem just because he has HP, but he wasn't able to even heal there. So I got the Gatling gun, and you do need to kill him for that. He's really he's really destroyed me before. On New Game Plus, I've heard, I generally don't do New Game Plus very much. I've heard he just absolutely destroys with the Gatling gun. So that's good. I think I should leave Beastshore on there probably. Beastshore is something that you can use for the other hunters as well. I just haven't been using it very much. So what else is in this cave? Just a Bloodstar beast just chilling out here. So yeah, it's literally one of the bosses from earlier in the game just chilling here. Thankfully, the same strategies with walking around to his right is still pretty effective. So you don't really need to kill him. He's pretty much optional, and you know, it's probably not worth your time killing him if you're struggling. So let me heal here. Yeah, once again, he's still got the attacks. It's just more annoying because if you don't have a light source, you can't really see what you're fighting here. So, but he does drop a gem. Is it a good one? I don't know. It's scaling, so. So that was some more twin bloodstone shards, and then there's the amygdala arm. So this is a strength arcane weapon, I think. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah, so it is split damage. I don't know if it always does split damage or if it's only on certain attacks it does arcane damage, but yeah. That's pretty much what it is. So I should have just 2 more chunks to go, so they're a bit later in the level before I can pick those up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open a shortcut to the lantern, because I've done everything I need to over here. I'm going to have to run past the bloodlickers here. They can poison you as well with certain attacks. I might want to... Oh yeah, there's this guy. There's quite a few enemies on this bridge. So I'm going to blood bullets and maybe... Yeah, I'll just take out this guy with the gloves. Make it easier for me. Oh, someone behind me. Ow. Rude. Yeah, these enemies aren't too difficult. They just, they deal damage, but they're generally just kind of trash enemies. There's another one here. Just drops Molotovs. Yeah, just 2 hits kills them. So there's an item up here. I may as well grab this before I hit the lantern. So over here is an area that we're going to get to. You can see the Wandering Nightmare over there. So that's the one I'm looking for the last 2 chunks. And there is another lantern over there, so obviously I want to get to there. So I'm going to hit the lantern, and I'm going to go back to the dream and kind of repair stuff. Maybe get another level. I'll hit 45 Arcane at least, and then maybe start to put 2 skill in for that that safe. So over here is Simon. You can kill him for the bow blade that he drops, but I'm just gonna leave him to do his quest natural way. So